everyone. How are you?
I'm good.
Good?
Yeah, fine.
So, what went better since last time we met last week?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing.
It's just my family's a disaster. I don't know. It's just
Why do you say that?
we're not coming together. We're distant. Lucy's still doing Lucy. I don't know. And Jane, she's getting worse. It's just everything's falling apart.
So, what do you think, Jane? Do you agree with Walter's?
You know, I do. I had a bad flare-up with my MS. I was in the hospital for a few days last week, and the physicians, my doctors there, told me to see the therapist that's at the hospital. And Roger came, but Lucy didn't really want to come.
I just don't think that it's like I don't need to be there. They can just tell me what I need to do when they get home. I don't see a point in me going to all these things.
And this is what I'm talking about.
But it's not, he thinks that it's like I don't want to be involved, but it's just tell me what I need to do and I'll do it. And I do that. I do that at home. Like I do what they ask. But I don't see a point in me going to all of these things.
So, well, it would be nice if we could feel like you wanted to be
But why isn't it that when I do what you say, like...
Because it's obvious you don't want to be there, Lucy. We have to make you participate in this family.
Okay, so what are your best calls for this conversation?
I just want us to be a family again. I want us to do things together like we used. I don't want to have to drag my daughter to come with me and my wife to see about her.
How about you, Jane?
Well, I just feel... I feel so guilty that this diagnosis is affecting our family this way.
So what are your best hopes for this conversation?
To feel less guilty, to feel like, you know, even though I am ill, I still have a family that loves me.
And you, Lucy?
That they would just be happy that happy with me. That's it. I just don't want to be blamed for stuff anymore.
So can you think of a time when you didn't have the problem, when you did feel like a family, you didn't feel guilty, you felt connected to the family, Lucy? Think about an example in the past.
Ever since I was little, we used to take these trips every summer to Florida. We would go to the beach, and it was like our tradition, whatever. And every time we would go, it was really fun, and we would fight, and we'd spend time together.
Do you agree, Jane, Roger? Do you also have good memories of that time?
I do. It was good times.
Tell me more about it.
For one, I didn't have to coax my daughter to participate with the things that my wife and I had planned. It was easier. We had so much fun. We were together. You know, it wasn't work. It just happened. And now everything is so forced.
Okay, we are talking about the vacation. Tell me more about the vacation, Jane.
Well, every year we would rent the same house on the beach. And do you remember the bikes with the big tires, so you could go on the sand? And you know, I can't ride bikes anymore, so that's what I remember the most.
And you are with the three of you would ride a bike?
All together, yeah.
It was hilarious.
You would rent the bike for the entire summer, or it was one day that you would rent it?
The whole time we were there, we would have one.
Yeah, we'd stay for a week, and you know, the first day we would go and do a big shop together at the farmer's market, and you know, I can't get Lucy to grocery shop to save my life these days, but
there was always this chocolate stand, and you would get to help them put in walnuts or M&Ms, and they always let me pick one out to bring home.
So How did you feel then, back then?
I felt, we were just happy. It was just, you weren't really thinking about it. You know, it was easy, natural, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We were happy.
How did you feel, Roger?
I felt great. I felt like, yeah, you know, this is my family. This is good.
Mm-hmm. And you, Jane?
Yeah, it was nice to just take time for the three of us to spend together.
Mm-hmm. So, you feel now, you said before that you are not working together as a family. Roger, you were saying that you wish that it didn't feel so forced when Lucy is invited to participate. For example, in your example, Jane, about the medical family therapist wanted to meet with the family. So, Lucy, how do you feel about it?
Like about...
Do you agree with your parents' assessment of...
I don't think that me being a part of the family means that I have to go to those things.
Okay.
I don't think that going and sitting with another therapist and talking about her, like, medical condition has anything to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
And if it does, they can just tell me the things that I need to know when they get home.
Roger?
This is the issue itself. It's important to us that she wants to be a part of it, that it's, I don't know.
I guess I don't know, I wish that Lucy could understand that being a part of a family isn't just the fun parts. You know, I know she's my daughter, but we all have to support each other, so it's, yeah, it's not, I know going to the hospital is not the same as riding bikes on the beach, but as a family, you're kind of in it together.
So suppose you went to sleep and a miracle happened, and then when you awake in the morning, your problem was solved. Okay, so all these concerns you have, everything we've been discussing, you know, Roger, when you said like everything is worse than before, imagine that everything is solved, okay? But you were sleeping, so you wouldn't know that the problem was solved, you know? So what is the first thing you would notice differently that morning when you wake up? So what are the hints that the problem has been solved when you were sleeping?
The first thing for me would be that my daughter would be happy to see me. Like really, really happy to see me.
What would she do?
She used to always greet me with a hug, and you know, it was just always important for me to have a bond with my daughter. And
okay, so Lucy would come and give you a hug.
It was just our little thing, you know. It was just something we shared between us. So yeah, that part, it mattered so much. It mattered a lot.
So that would be a hint that the problem was solved. How about you, Lucy?
I guess I would wake up and my parents would be happy with me.
How would you know they are happy with you?
I mean, kind of the same thing. They would greet me with a hug, and like the first thing they would say wouldn't have anything to do with like the problem of my mom's MS. They would talk about like a soccer game I had, or ask me what I wanted for breakfast, like just normal things. And they'd just be in a good mood, you know.
In a good mood.
Good mood.
For you, Jane, how would you know that the problem has been solved while you were sleeping? What would be different?
Well, a lot of times in the morning I can't get out of bed, you know, as early as they do. So if they're up, it would be nice to come get a knock on the door just before going off to work and school. Just like, you know, like they're saying too, a hug, but they kind of have to come to me for that to happen.
So if Lucy comes in the morning and gives you a hug and wakes you up with a hug, so how would you feel?
That. I would feel like she cared about me and was being proactive to show that instead of you know, forcing her to spend time with me.
And Lucy, if you wake up and your parents are in a good mood and prepare breakfast for you, how would you feel?
I feel like they appreciate that I am a part of the family, and that I'm not always the problem. And yeah, I'd feel really good.
Roger, how would you feel if you wake up and Lucy comes and hugs you?
I would feel like my family is back, like it's functioning like a real family. I would feel really, really just good about it. I mean, it's a part of my day, and it really, having that, or at some point, you know, it really pushes me through my day. I look forward to coming home when I have that.
So thank you for sharing with me all these best hopes you have for this conversation. So I want to wrap up with a question. So imagine that on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is like we are together doing everything as a family and happy to be doing things together. For example, like when you were talking about biking on the beach in Florida. And 0 is like we are totally disconnected from each other. We just don't talk to each other. This doesn't look like a family. So on a scale from 1 to 10, where would you say you are now? Jane, you want to start?
Maybe a 4.
4. Why a 4? Why not a 5 or a 3?
Well, we do talk to each other, so I wouldn't go lower than that, but I don't feel like, I just don't feel that we're engaged. So even when we do talk, it's not, you know, as pleasant or, you know, as loving as I wish it would be.
Roger, which number would be on a scale from 0 to 10 for you?
0.5.
0.5.
0.5.
Why so low?
Because we don't do any of it. It just seemed like it stopped overnight almost. It was one of those things that made my day. It was a big deal, and now it's just like gone. It's non-existent.
So how have you been coping with like such a low functioning?
I don't know. I grew up, I was raised believing in family, and you know, through all of it, you just keep going. So I don't know.
And Lucy, what would be your number on a scale from 0 to 10?
I'd say we're like a 5. I don't think that.
5?
Yeah. I mean, every family has their problems, right? But I think we're 5.
Okay, so if we try to think where we want to go from here, so what would be a realistic number to be as a family, you know, on this scale?
I mean, I would be fine with just like a 7.
A 7?
Yeah.
Jane,
Yeah.
7?
I was thinking more of an 8, but a 7 a
Big
word.
jump from 0.5
Yeah.
to 8.
Yeah, from
Well,
0.5 to
sweetie,
8
I mean,
is like...
It's
Well, okay, let's agree on 7. I think that 7 is a...
Yeah.
Is a stretch. But I think we can be there. So I will encourage you after you leave today, just observe what happens that you want to continue during the next week. So you do your homework, like think about like all the dynamics of the family, and think about, you know, this question and how we can move all this situation on a scale to get closer to that 7 we are aiming at. Okay? Sounds good? Sounds like a
good.
plan?
Yeah.
Good. So I'll be seeing you next week.
yes.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
much.